Good morning. We're live, 10 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States of America. Boogie with the Bull, Wednesday morning caffeine. Dave Bloom and I am live. I hope you brought your favorite morning caffeine in your favorite morning caffeine vessel. Today it is my standard 24 ounces of iced coffee with some mocha chocolate caramel flavoring and a good shot of Coffee Mate, I think, and it's in the elegant 24-ounce thermal Bubba. Actually, it's a steel Bubba, and it does, in fact, keep things cold or keep things hot. You can get them at your favorite Walmart self-checkout or other places, I'm sure. Maybe one day you'll see something with the Boogie with the Bull logo on it. I don't really know. Did invite William Rayfield if he's around to join us, and did invite Randy Rhodes if he's around to join us. And hopefully they will. Give me a minute to get over to monitor number 1 over here and do what I do best, which is get the live chat started on the Dave Globan profile over on Facebook. If you're watching on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, you just come in live and we're set and ready to go. Having problems with this piece of technology this morning, trying to look at news headlines and see if there's anything worth telling you, and there really isn't. And the funny thing with Google headlines this morning is 51 minutes ago in Michigan, they said Trump won, and 41 minutes ago in Michigan, they said Biden won. So take your pick. One of them is going to win in Michigan, and we all do hope that it is Donald Trump. Headlines, according to Reuters, that you might want to know about: U.S. Congress seeks to pass a stop gas funding bill ahead of the shutdown schedule. Also, Nikki Haley urges hundreds at Colorado campaign stop to go with something new. And the something new must be voting for a rhino to win the Republican nomination, then carry votes from the Democrat Party, I guess, and become the first rhino to be elected president of the United States. And I can't even guarantee if that is the correct remark. There might have been a rhino elected before. Someone who knows, come on and educate me one way or another. Good morning to Danny Campbell, who again has watched more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts. Danny Campbell has watched more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts than anybody in the history of Boogie with the Bull. I even can joke that probably Danny might actually live by sitting next to his technology, waiting for a Boogie with the Bull broadcast to come on. I know that's not true. He watches other broadcasts too, but we appreciate that Danny has watched more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts in the history of Boogie with the Bull than anyone else. Don't really see much other news you can use this morning. So if you're on Facebook, come into the live chat on the Dave Bloom program. Tell me what news is of importance to you this morning, and we'll go with that. And as I joke a lot sometimes and threat, that maybe it will be a short Boogie with the Bull this morning because I'm the only one talking, and I have probably already run out of things to say. I can say it's time to unite. It is time to take our country back. I can regurgitate all of the things that we probably did yesterday. Although yesterday at 7 p.m. we had Jen Woodruff on, had a fantastic history lesson, went on to talking about whatever comes out of our mouths once the history lesson is done. Unfortunately, it probably bored a lot of people to tears because it was kind of an update on my living in a bipolar dementia world. And about all I'm going to say on that is, if you have bipolar, you learn how to deal with it. If you have dementia, you learn how to deal with it. And you either lock yourself away from the world because you don't want the world to see you at any given day. You kind of take the Nancy Reagan approach and make sure that no one ever saw Ronnie on a bad day. You make sure no one ever sees you on a bad day, and you hide from the world. And as much as I tell people you need to go out, you need to be active, you need to do this, you need to do that, I got to let my dementia brothers and sisters know that, yeah, I spend a lot of time hiding from the world in the bedroom, spend a lot of time hiding from the world in the bedroom studio. And it is something that I have to work on. I get out, basically I get out for doctor's appointments and occupational therapy, physical therapy. Maybe if my wife is running errands and I want to get out and I go ride. And a lot of times when I do that, I don't get out of the car. So it's almost like, maybe I should have stayed home. But, life does get a little bit different, and it still can be as enjoyable as it was before. Maybe you're not driving, but hey, if you're not driving, understand I'm not driving. And I drove for 40 years, made my living driving for 40 years. And I tell people all the time, it's 100% true. I still miss it. Matter of fact, Jen asked me yesterday if I won the Mega Millions, which is up really high, over $500 million right now. Would I go buy a new car? And I actually said no for me. Why? Because I wouldn't be driving it. I don't have a license anymore. I mean, I could buy whatever car I wanted to drive, buy a big piece of land and make it private property, which it would be, and drive on it as much as I want. But as far as driving off of it onto city roads and getting stuck in traffic, no, don't want to do it. Don't even have any desire for it. Matter of fact, if we had $250 million sitting in the bank, figuring that if we won $500 million, we'd get 250. We'd probably end up with 125 million by the time the federal government and whatever home state we're in gets their piece. So we'd have $125 million. We'd probably buy that nice piece of land somewhere here in Florida and build 2 homes on it, one for Donna and I and one for our son and daughter-in-law and grandson and assorted members of their family. And as I said, probably a she shed for my wife and daughter-in-law to work on their craft projects, a workshop for my son to work on his projects, and of course, the Boogie with the Bull studio. And the Boogie with the Bull studio would probably be built in the room above the garage. And the garage might actually hold cars that our son and daughter-in-law might want to own and drive, and maybe a couple of cars that I might want to own and be driven in, and probably cars that my wife, Donna, would like to have and drive us in. Also, probably would have room for a helicopter pad because we would coordinate with some kind of helicopter service to get us to the local real airport where we would get picked up in whatever jet might be taking us to wherever we're going. Or we'd have to travel by ground because I don't know if Donna would get into a helicopter. I don't know if I would get into a helicopter. Really, it'd be a lot of fun, but I don't know if I would really do it. We'd have to have homes everywhere because, of course, living here in Florida and having family in Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts, as you go up the Northeast coast, we'd probably have to have a home in Rhode Island, a home in Connecticut, a home in Massachusetts, a home in Texas, where our youngest is. We would probably have to just have homes everywhere. Maybe even, I don't know, maybe even have the Boogie with the Bull Rockstar bus, which would be Boogie with the Bull on one side and the craft show on the other side. It could be conveniently parked near the booths at the craft shows, and could be conveniently parked at Boogie with the Bull events or events that Boogie with the Bull is at, and just be happy. I don't know. What would make you happy if you found out that you won $500 million in the Powerball or Mega Millions? Would you take half of it and just be happy with it, pay the taxes on it, and live on the rest of it for the rest of your lives? Or would you take it in the, I think it's equal payments over 20 years, maybe 30 years? Would you take that? I might actually be inclined to take that, but not really, because we're going to spend some money. It's not going to be a whole lot of money. And of course, if you have 125 million, it's not going to be a whole lot of money, but we're going to spend some money, and we'd probably be left with a good chunk of change left over. But one of these days, Don and I aren't going to be here any longer, and maybe our sons and our daughter-in-laws and our grandsons and our new granddaughter might have it a little easier with money. I would still require that everybody have some sort of education and some sort of real job, and even maybe if the real job is at the foundation, which I'm sure we would start working at the foundation and being involved in helping people out who really need help, not bankrolling illegal immigrants that are in this country illegally. Leave, go home, and come back the right way, or just leave and go home and don't come back. I could see us donating a lot of money to help homeless veterans get home, and help homeless veterans and other veterans get the help, the medical care that they need, that they don't see for whatever various reasons that the VA may have. All can hope one day that the voters in this country unite and realize that the Biden administration is not the right administration that we want. A Democrat Congress is not the Congress that we want. The World Economic Forum only has the economic interest of its vast members and not the world as a whole. I'm tired of hearing videos that explain beyond the shadow of a doubt how elitists are working with Agenda 21 to rid the world of a good portion of non-elites that they won't need and hope would be gone by 2030, so that they can devote the resources on Earth to themselves and those others that they eliminate until they're all gone. Callan McMillan is with us. If you need a used ambulance or even a used 63, I think it is, I'm doing it by memory, but it was a beautiful Chevy Nova that I saw pictures of that he posted. If you're interested in something like that, talk to him. But I know every once in a while that Alan wants to sell the used ambulance that he bought. And I don't know if that includes converting it to something that you might be able to use, or just telling you to bring a tow truck and come get it, or a license plate, and he'll give you the keys so you can drive it away. But I always had an interest in doing something like that with a life support rig, one of the bigger cubes that you see fire departments or ambulance services have. Take an ALS rig, which is a pretty good sized cube, and take out the gurney, and that would leave you a lot of shelf space and some desk space, and then put a table in there that could be the table for a live broadcast studio. And that conversion would be fun to be involved in doing and to use. Also, always thought about buying a used ENG truck. That's one of the news vans that you see that has a satellite dish on it, usually still from the station that it came from. Alan says the ambulance is for sale, but the 67 Chevy isn't. So that means he must have sold the 63 Chevy that I just talked about, or decided that it's not for sale any longer, or thanks for correcting me, it is a 67 Chevy Nova. And it looked like a nice car. And I have to say that if I probably owned it, I probably wouldn't want to sell it either. I might eventually put it back together and sell it to someone who would appreciate it more than I do, or I would sell it to someone who would appreciate it more than I would, and look for some other classics. I did not buy myself the Mercedes 450 SEL that I hoped to find and either have restored and enjoyed driving it for the rest of my life. I did have a 78 240D diesel sedan that I didn't pay much for, put a lot of money into it, and sold it for a lot more money than I bought it for, and then took that money and invested with a friend in some used Crown Vics. I don't remember where they came from, probably the Mass State Police. And he put them back together and sold them to his cab driving friends, and also cross-converted a lot of them back to unmarked vehicles and sold them to some of his law enforcement friends. And I had one for a while. And I like Crown Vics. My favorite is, of course, the 94, which is the one that bears resemblance to a Milano cookie, kind of flat and rounded. That was my favorite. I had one that was a retired Mass State Police cruiser, went to the Wellesley Police, left the Wellesley Police where it was the chief's cruiser, went to the deputy chief of the security business that I worked for as his cruiser. And when he retired it and it went back into the fleet, no one wanted to drive it because it was an old one. They always wanted to be in the new 2000 or newer because they all looked the same pretty much. And they thought those were nicer because that's what everybody else in law enforcement was driving. But I enjoyed driving the 94 for many years until they retired it at the security company, and I bought it from them and drove it as my own car for a while, and then sold it. And the person that I sold it to claimed it had an oil leak and blew it up. That's the story of my life. I sold a limousine to a guy, and I said to him, it's due for an oil change. If you don't do the oil change right now, I can't guarantee how the car will run. But I said the car, the frame and body has 600,000 miles on it. The engine has 600,000 miles on it, but it had been rebuilt every 200,000 miles, and it had just been rebuilt and didn't have that much miles on it. I didn't need it any longer, so I sold it very cheaply. And I said to the guy, it had always gotten oil changes every 1,500 miles from new, and if you break that car karma, it's probably not going to be with you much longer. And he kind of laughed that off. And about 6 months later, he called me and said that he had driven it something like 7,000 miles from when he bought it from me. And he went out to start the car one day, and the engine blew, and the transmission went with it. And I said, I told you. It had car karma, and you broke the car karma. So That's all I have to say on that one. Let's see. So William Rayfield, who was invited, hopefully will come another time. And Randy Rhodes, who was invited, will hopefully come another time. And anyone else who is interested in being on a Boogie with the Bull Monday, Wednesday, or Friday morning caffeine, you just need to let me know most of the time by 9:30 the latest, and we will squeeze you in and be very happy that you are here on Friday. Bill Muckler, the host of the Bill Muckler Show here on Facebook, weekdays at 11 a.m. And also the author of the 2020 books, 2020, A Clear Vision for America, 2020, A Clear Vision for Our Future, are now available from Bill. And $25 for both books includes the shipping, and very relevant reading, still very true with where we are today and things that need to be not only considered but need to be done. The Department of Education, which is referred to in the books as the Department of Indoctrination, and the IRS, which is referred to as the department that should be abolished, should still be abolished. I don't know if they will be or they won't be. Alan has said additionally, maintenance is crucial to ensure a long life of your vehicles. Yep, on that particular limousine, Alan, I bought the 3 limousines used. That one of the 3 was purchased new originally in 1986 by the limousine service that I bought the 3 from. And he is very car karma anal on his cars and believes that they get an oil change every 1,500 miles, whether they need it or not. Because with having multiple drivers in them throughout the day, nobody drives them the same. No one drives your vehicle better than you. So, give your car a little bit of extra love. And that's what we did. One of the limousines was a parts car. It had a bad oil pan, and the oil pan was never related in it, so we kept it as a parts car. I did price an oil pan a few times, and it was, at the time, was cost prohibitive to do it. If I had thought about it, I probably would have done it. And it was dark blue with a blue top. I would have probably painted it white over a blue top and used it for weddings because it was a long door, which means that the 2 rear doors were a little bit longer to make it a lot easier for a bride to get in and get out of the car. Alan says, I didn't know you were up this early, Dave. LOL. Well, I'm up a lot earlier. I was awake this morning at, I think, a little after midnight, but I didn't stay awake very long. And I was awake at 4 a.m. and went back to sleep about 4:30, or thought I was going to go back to sleep about 4:30, and ended up staying awake until a little after 5 and went back to sleep. And Donna got up at I think 6:30, 7 o'clock. She went in later today. So I think I woke up for a few minutes then and rolled over and went back to sleep, and woke up to find my favorite morning caffeine, iced coffee with mocha chocolate caramel flavoring, and maybe a shot of Coffee Mate, and my favorite morning caffeine vessel, Bubba. And I joke you not, right there you can see that it says Bubba, not to be confused with Bill Bubba Clinton. But like I said, you can buy that at usually any of your larger Walmart self-checkouts has various sizes of Bubba. or you can go to Michael's, and you could actually find in the cup aisle some different brands that are a lot less, and you can even buy them and customize them for yourself if you wish. I don't know. It's not about selling stuff to support broadcasts. I said that last night with Jen. It was never a part of selling stuff, getting you to buy stuff so that I had money to keep doing this broadcast. Okay. We contribute to the house internet cost. And I pay for StreamYard. And if we add any destinations, Rumble, X, StreetLock, whatever, over the next year, I pay for that because I want to get the broadcasts out on more social media networks than just Facebook and YouTube. And I pay for that because that's just the way it is. We are the no budget broadcasting company for a reason. We do what we can do on whatever we can afford to do. And if we can't afford to do it, then we just admit it and we live within our means. It would be very nice to retire the Chromebook and allow it to be hit with a sledgehammer several times, and the two tablets on my left and on my right, it would be nice to retire both of them and hit them with sledgehammers and at $1 a whack and donate the money to charity, and replace it with brand new state-of-the-art Chrome equipment. And it doesn't make sense to me to go out and buy Windows 11 device and put Chrome on it because I hate Windows 10 so much that I would probably never use it. So if and when we ever do replace the Chromebook here, I would probably move up in the Chromebook world. Also waiting because I read recently that Google is under the belief that if they do some major work on Chrome, they can move it closer to being a true competitor to Windows, to Windows. And if they do that, there are large corporations that buy lots of laptops and desktops and other tops. And they have said that if they had a choice between Chrome and or Windows, they would probably move to Chrome if they're not already on Chrome. So means that there's some hope for Chrome, maybe. Let's see. 10:28, this Boogie with the Bull moves along. Ellen McMillan is watching. Danny Campbell is watching. And I don't see anybody else on Facebook that is watching. No one is watching on YouTube, the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, which is okay with me because, as I've said before, the only reason we have the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel was to be able to take broadcasts and not have to share them from Facebook. Because when you do that, Facebook still makes money off of your posting your broadcast wherever you post it, because you're sharing it from Facebook. I would rather that I share it from YouTube, and if we get 1,000 people who have watched 4,000 hours, we get a few pennies that can probably be donated to charity. And because that's just the way things need to be. Do not get scared and lock yourself in your home, as I said. Do not think that the best way to deal with this is to lock yourself in your home. And if you do, and you think you need to protect yourself with guns, then by all means, get gun trained, practice with them, be competent in how you use them, knowing where and when you use them and how you use them and which guns you have, then by all means go ahead and do it. Because if you don't, sooner or later, if the Democrats have their way, they're going to take the Second Amendment to the Constitution away from us, and we will just have to accept that that's what they did. I don't know if it will stop people from owning guns, because I don't believe that a lot of people in America will give up their guns just because the Democrats were able to remove the Second Amendment from the Constitution with the Supreme Court's blessing. I just think the Democrats have a rude awakening when they get to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court is going to say, no, you cannot do this. You don't have the right to remove the Second Amendment because God said, thou shalt own guns, when he wrote the Second Amendment to the Constitution. And, there used to be that saying, let no man destroy what his Lord, his God, has created. And God gave us the Second Amendment, and that's just the end of it. The Democrats need to end it. Plus, the reason that they want to take all of our guns away is to make sure that we can't react to them having guns when they come out on us. And you know what? If you think you're going to come out on us, great. Martial law is a very interesting conversation with me, because as Michael Anthony has said to me, I think William Rayfield has said to me, Randy Rhodes and I have discussed it. I know Jen Woodruff and I and Randy Rhodes and Michael may have discussed it. Everybody who has been on has discussed it. And the only thing I think you need to remember about martial law, John Q. and Jane Q., American citizen, is that if and when a president declares martial law and turns the control of the government over to the military, there is no guarantee that the military is ever going to give it back. Honestly, just no guarantee that the military has to give it back. So, Democrats, if you think you invoke martial law through Joe Biden or whoever the next Democrat president is, just remember, they don't have to give it back to you. And they may not. And if you go and read the various executive orders that Michael Anthony has told us in numerical order on more than one occasion, going as far back as 1940, as I said with Jen last night, you will realize that it looks like presidents in the 40s signed executive orders that basically gave control of the United States at the time to the Department of the Interior, which I believe basically at some point became a front for FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association, which eventually got the Department of Homeland Security as its front. And you could go as far back as the famous Mike Pence speech in the Rose Garden, when he alludes to it and Trump says, that's not what I heard. And then you can tell me that you watched another video where it was Trump saying something about it and Mike Pence leaning into him and saying, that's not what I heard. And you can believe whatever you want, that some people float the theory that we are under martial law right now. They are letting the Democrats, because they have the majority of the Senate and they have their president in the White House, do whatever they feel they want to do, because at some point the marshals are just going to say enough is enough. This is how it's going to be done. This is what's going to happen. And you know what? Some people think that maybe the swamp will finally be drained and bleached. Washington, D.C. will be shut down. And whether or not we still have a Congress representing the people and properly representing the people will be yet to be told. Sherry Rogers from Dudley, Massachusetts. is watching. And she's a special lady. She is my sister-in-law, married to Donna's husband, Rich. And nice to see her. Nice to see her watching, only because, as I have said before, a lot of my family on both sides, Donna's side and on the Colombian side, don't watch Boogie with the Bull broadcasts because they can't understand how someone as intelligent as me is a Trump supporter. So if they watch more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts, they might understand why a guy as intelligent as me is a Trump supporter. And if they see what Joe Biden is doing and has done to the United States of America over the 3 years that he has been president, actually, yeah, almost 4 years, but we'll still call it 3 years that he has been president, that they can't honestly tell me that they want Biden to continue to be the president. I don't care. I mean, I'm going to flash this. Alan is 100% right. The Democrats are hell-bent on destroying America from within, and they will. Given the opportunity, they will. And it won't be with Joe Biden at the helm. They know that they have to get rid of Biden because the evidence, beyond the shadow of a doubt, whether or not the evidence ever makes it into a court of law, shows that Joe Biden has violated enough things being president, violated enough things when he was vice president, violated enough things when he was senator, and continued to violate them as president, that he shouldn't be president. So that just means they have to find another Democrat. And honestly, I think they need to get rid of a president who has any kind of mental illness. You know, whether he trips walking up the stairs to Air Force One, has to get the questions that he's going to be asked in advance and given a card that has that on one side and the full agenda of what he is supposed to say and when he is supposed to say it on the other side of the card, and then just says something completely different. I mean, I guess he does do one thing very well. He is John Fetterman's translator over at the Senate, because if no one can understand what John Fetterman is saying, John Fetterman and Joe Biden speak stroke and stroke-related and whatever dementia, gibberish very well, and totally understand what each other is saying or not. And maybe that's just part of an act too. It is terrible to sit here day by 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 day, and 3 days a week do a Boogie with the Bull broadcast in the morning here at 10 a.m. and see comments from Alan and other Americans that the Democrats are hell-bent on destroying America from within, because all it makes me want to do is kind of yell out at our side and go, what did we do to stop it? What did we do to stop it? Did we make sure that Democrats who were trying to destroy the United States of America were not elected to Congress? Did we make sure that Republicans that were not interested in destroying the United States of America were not elected either? Did we, or should we maybe have removed party politics from Congress so that there is no Democrat majority, Republican minority, Republican majority, Democrat minority, so that we're not voting by party? Our representatives are voting by what we tell them to do when they go back to Washington, D.C. to vote. And if they don't, then yeah, we need to remove them. It's that easy. Joe Biden is not mentally capable to be POTUS, President of the United States. Well, that's 100% true. And I've taken Biden and changed it to buffoon, in buffoon in dementia, enough now, meaning that I've had enough. Buffoon in dementia, enough now. No nomination. Retirement. I mean, he will get $400,000 a year while he is retired from the presidency and probably going through various trials that no one wants to try him until he is no longer president, or he'll go through and get $400,000 a year to be retired and never be charged. And that $400,000 a year can pay for him and the staff that needs to take care of him wherever he will live. And leaders of the world that I think are laughing at him and laughing at us for having him be our president will, start respecting us again as being the United States of America. Because I said a few days ago on a Boogie with the Bull, you got Joe Biden, who decided he was going to shut off oil in the United States of America. No more drilling, no more harvesting, and he shut down the Keystone pipeline, which was a huge mistake because we all know that oil shale from Canada was going to flow down to Texas refineries or somehow get to refineries down in the South and be made into gasoline. Some of it was going to go back to Canada, and some of it was going to remain here in the United States, and it should have significantly brought down the price of a gallon of gas and kept it much lower than it is now. And that's just what needed to happen. The oil companies have the right to set the price per gallon however they want to set it. And there shouldn't be a government means of price control. It's just like any other business. They should be able to decide how much they want to sell a gallon of gas for, with the understanding that if you take it from like $3.10 a gallon that it is now at the mobile station around the corner, or you drive a couple miles into Middleburg and it's $2.99 a gallon over at BJ's in Orange Park. And if you have a BJ's credit card, it's $2.89 a gallon because you save 10 cents a gallon, plus any BJ's gas points that you get, and there are all kinds of specials there. But my point is that if you own a gas station and you want to sell a gallon of gas for $1 million, 87 octane, then you want to sell a gallon of 92 for $1.5 million, and you want to sell a gallon of 94 or higher for $2 million a gallon, that's your decision. But the reality is that if you raise your price to $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million for a gallon of gas, the odds are you're not going to sell much gas. So they won't do that. And the funnier thing is when you look at some corners in your city, one guy owns all 4 gas stations, and there are 4 different brands on 4 different price schedules. And you never know. You go to the one that is the cheapest, and it doesn't really matter at the time, because as soon as he raises the price on that one, he's going to lower the price at one of the other ones. And that's just how it goes. So keep an eye on the stations and the prices, and when you can, gas up where it's less than anybody else. BJ's likes to be 25 to 30 cents less than everybody else, and right now I don't think they are doing that. In the case of that one station, I'm going to whip out the calculator because I can't do math in my head, which Joe Biden probably can't do either. And we'll put in $3.10 minus $2.99 is 11 cents. It's 11 cents. But then it becomes becomes 21 cents that you save. And if you add in any BJ's points when you use your BJ's credit card, then it is still within that 30 cents. But my point is, shop around. You'll find the lowest price that you can. Also, I'm going to tell you, because I got 40 years experience of owning cars, managing fleets, owning fleets, that if you have a car that says must run on 92 octane, nothing lower, most of them are cars that could be dropped to 89, 88, maybe even 87. I've taken just about every Lincoln Town car I ever drove, whether it was my car or someone else's, and they told me must run on 92 because that's what the book says. And when I returned it to them, I said, you made money off of that car because we got it from 92 down to 89, down to 87, and left it. And every once in a while, flushed the tank of 89 through it, and you continued to make money because we continued to use that car. And that's just the way it is. Dealers always said, meaning mechanics and dealers always said, it might buck a little bit while it goes from 92 to 89 down to 87, but eventually, you won't notice it. And to be honest with you, I never had a Lincoln that bucked at all doing it. The only one we did use what the book said was the 2008 Mercedes R350, because the owner of that car said the book says Blue Tech diesel. So that's what we ran it on. And that car ran fantastic, but that's what we ran it on. And we never had a problem. Never had a problem with it. Anyway, yep, Joe Biden is not the man who should be president of the United States right now. As far as I'm concerned, and most people are concerned, he's the front man. He is not the president, other than he appears everywhere and says he is president and embarrasses himself and embarrasses Jill and or other people who are with him. When this is all said and done and he's charged, I think Jill should be charged with elder abuse, because the only thing I can imagine is that around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he goes to bed. I can't imagine him sleeping from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 4 o'clock in the morning, but maybe they do things to prolong his sleep. And they go in at 4 o'clock in the morning and hit him with a cattle prod so that at 6 o'clock he can be up and functioning, and then he can go sit down and be the president. And I will continue to say, you will see there are many videos that show President Trump late at night, 10 o'clock, midnight, sometimes after midnight, walking from Marine One, the helicopter, into the Oval Office and sitting down and doing stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours at a time. People said it was not uncommon, even on international flights, for President Trump to land back at the White House midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and sit down and do 8 hours worth of work, because he was out of the office for the day and needed to catch himself up on what happened while he was gone. If Joe Biden was going to do that, he'd have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or get the cattle prod at 4 o'clock in the morning, be prepared at 6 o'clock in the morning, be down in the Oval Office, and have to work straight through until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and probably even later, to make sure everything was done before he went over to the West Wing and said goodnight. The hardest job I can ever imagine would be being the president of the United States, because shit happens while you're asleep, and you have to be woken up and you have to make decisions, and that's what happens because you're the president. So if you can't make it on various limited amounts of sleep, I wouldn't recommend becoming president of the United States. I wouldn't take the job just because I got dementia and I don't want the job. So even if Joe Biden may have proven to Democrats that a person with dementia can be the president, I don't want to be the president. Even when I didn't have dementia, I never wanted to be a president. Maybe a U.S. senator, and I probably would have been as guilty as Mitch McConnell and still be in there if I had run. And, term limits, it's time for term limits. When it gets obvious that you're like Mitch McConnell and there is some kind of issue that causes you to all of a sudden freeze up and get asked a question, and you acknowledge the question and all of a sudden freeze up, something's wrong and you're not effective as the Senate minority leader. Maybe he's still useful as a senator and a Republican vote in the Senate, but not as the minority leader and certainly not as the majority leader. But there should be term limits, and no one will ever agree on what they should be because the House is a 2-year term and the Senate is a 6-year term. Something needs to happen, and maybe both a compromise needs to be made, and they're both 4-year terms. And that's how it goes in conjunction with the president. So every time we rotate the presidency to someone else, we should be rotating the House and Senate to someone else. Will they become as corrupted as the people they replace? Probably, because there's probably no way that we're ever going to wash the corruption out, because as other people have said in this broadcasting realm on Facebook and other places, you get elected, and the most important job is to keep raising money so that you can be reelected. It's not anything about the $174,000 a year that you make, the money that you get to help you maintain your district offices and your Washington, D.C. offices, and vote however special interests want you to vote. It's about making sure that you keep those special interests happy so that you're getting the money so that you have a big war chest and you can run at any time. Or at least if you can't run anymore or don't want to run anymore, you can use that war chest to help get other Republicans elected. I am noticing that, yes, with the dementia, I have to slow down my speaking immensely, or else as my brain gets scrambled and I can see my thoughts scrambled inside of my head, it gets harder to get the words out. So if you hear the or oh or something to indicate that I have not synced my brain with my mouth, that's what's happening. My hands do move around while I am doing the broadcast. My nose is stuffed with allergies today, so I am doing rude things like scratching my nose. I shouldn't do that. In the radio world, it doesn't matter because you don't see me, but it's not really the best thing to do. Or scratching my beard, which I'm thinking on how to get the words out of my mouth. But anyway, I do this because I can, and one day when I can't, I'll probably decide that I can't do it anymore and hope that there is somebody new that has come along that will still do it. I don't know how many groups on Facebook we can share it to today. I didn't do that at the beginning of the broadcast because I was by myself, and it's kind of hard to focus on doing that while keeping you entertained. So we will go to the Dave Bowman profile, we will call up groups, and we will send it to the Hardcore Conservatives group. We will send it to the Great American Nation. We will send it to Red Patriots for America. We will send it to the Red MAGA Nation. We will send it to Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk. We will send it to Who's With Me. We will send it to MAGA News Nation. We will send it to the World United as One Against Government Overreach. We will send it to the United Media Group Uncensored. We will send it to American Regulators. We will send it to Conservative Freedom Defenders. And about all I will say there is I am back in Conservative Freedom Defenders. I am an admin, back helping Art Sessa, which I definitely did miss, but had to step down for a little bit and get my head straight. But I am back and I'm there, and I invite everybody who is not a member of that group to join that group and be active, posting in that group, sharing that group, inviting your friends to that group. It has always been under 500 members, or well, usually 500 or less for, I think, the 3 years it's been around. And when Art first formed the group and he asked me to be an admin, we kind of agreed that the group would probably always be a small group, but a loyal group of people. And I guess in the back of my mind, I hoped it would at least hit 1,500 people, because in those days, to me, 1,500 members was a large group. And so if you're a member, please invite your friends to join. If you're not a member, please join, and then invite your friends to join. And let's see how big we can get Conservative Freedom Defenders between now and the Tuesday, November 5th presidential election. I think if we all work together, work hard on it, we can do it, and we can do it very well. And that's what we do. I don't see anybody else there that I want to share it to. Plus, I know that if I go over, I got 13 shares out this morning. If I go more than 13, I'll end up with a 41-hour no-share ban, and I don't want that anymore. So if we didn't share it into your group, let me know, and I will make sure it gets shared into your group. If you want to be on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast to talk about your group, you're more than welcome to do so. If you are a fellow broadcaster on Facebook, whether you are a Democrat, leftist socialist broadcast, or a conservative patriot broadcast, you are more than welcome to come on and talk about your broadcast, and hopefully we can help you get views on it. Boogie with the Bull runs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's morning caffeine. And Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. That's Tuesday night and Thursday night live. Sometimes we run a rare Saturday morning Boogie with the Bull. That's 10 o'clock when we can run them, and you'll get as much notice as we can give you so that you know and can look forward to watching it. We hope that you watch it. We hope that if you ever decide that you want to be on the broadcast, that you let us know. Most times a half hour before the broadcast goes live. So 10 a.m. if you want to be on, let me know by 9:30, and we will see if we can work you in. And 7 p.m. let me know by 6:30, and we will let you know if you can be on. Or if you just want to be on, you can always message me and let me know of a particular one that you want to be on and what you want to discuss and how much time you think you need. You're more than welcome to be on the whole broadcast, but if you need less, then you're more than welcome to come on and use the time that you need. Anyway, it's 11 o'clock. I'm Dave Blow, and this is when we say you have been watching Boogie with the Bull Wednesday Morning Caffeine, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company, and we thank you for the privilege of letting me abuse your time, and we stuck to an hour like I hoped that we would. I hope we didn't bore anybody too long. I hope when you walk away from a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, you have thought about things that I think you need to think about, or we think you need to think about, and you're closer to making your own decision for yourself. And that's what you walk away from a Boogie with the Bull broadcast with. And again, if you get to the point where, you watch something and you don't understand something, or you're not, 100% clear on what your decision is or what you should be doing, come back and watch and put that that's a comment in the live chat, or come join the broadcast and, we'll talk. The live chat is a very important part of Boogie with the Bull broadcast, because I know that's the people watching, and I want you to be part of the broadcast. Also, having people on means that I'm not the only one talking for a whole hour, and you get to hear other people's views. So I made some notes here that you need to see. Boogie with the Bull, Friday Morning Caffeine, 10 a.m. Eastern on Dave Blowman here on Facebook, or the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Special guest Bill Muckler, host of the Bill Muckler Show, which again runs weekdays, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. on the Bill Muckler Facebook profile and in the Bill Muckler Show group. Bill is the author of the 2020 books, 2020 A Clear Vision for America, 2020 A Clear Vision for Our Future. The set of books is $25. You can go to 2020americabook.com, 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 and buy the books. You can go to the Bill Muckler profile, and you can watch in the Bill Muckler Show group and probably hear more about how you buy the books. Buy them, read them, and I think you will be fascinated with the knowledge that you will learn. We'll also discuss Red Friday. Remember, everyone deployed Friday. On that Friday, which is every Friday, Red Friday, we wear red to show our support, as we remember everybody deployed, both foreign and domestic, as well as remembering those that did their best to protect us and take care of us and are no longer with us. So I've kind of said at times that it's almost like a Salute the Soldiers Day, salute the Military Day. Those that aren't with us any longer, those that are still with us, and just pay respect. Pay respect. When we're out in public and I see someone wearing a ball cap that has the name of a ship on it, or what looks like the name of a plane, or maybe even the name of a unit, if I can, I ask the gentleman, because I want to know. I was not able to serve. I wanted to go into the Marines from high school. I would have been a career Marine if I had. Unfortunately, some of my other physical limitations probably would have gotten me declined. So rather than embarrass myself, I didn't go. It doesn't mean that I could not have gone in and done other things than be out in the field at war, but and I could have and would have and probably should have gone forward and done that. But anyway, Bill Muckler will be with us on the next Boogie with the Bull Morning Caffeine, like I said, Friday morning at 10 a.m. here on the Dave Blooming Facebook channel and the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. Please take the broadcasts and share them wherever you can on Facebook and wherever you can off of Facebook if you want. And we appreciate that effort. And if you do share them, message me on Facebook and let me know where you share them so that I can thank you for doing that. And now it's 11:05, so I'm going to end up because it's time for me to eat. Delilah, the Chihuahua, and Lola have eaten their breakfasts already, and now it's time for me to have a little brunch. Alan Ryan Hasselbart was watching Boogie with the Bull. Thank you for watching, Alan. Calvin McMillan, always a pleasure that you watch either Morning Caffeine or Tuesday and Thursday Night Live. And that's about it. Danny Campbell, who has watched more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts than anybody else in the history of Boogie with the Bull. I went and counted last night, and the ones that I have watched more than one time, Danny still beats me, and he's watched more than I have. So it's always a pleasure to have Danny watching, and I know he shares the broadcast with his friends and encourages them to watch as well. I'm Dave Globin. You're not. Double V's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull is going to come to an end. We'll hit this one, double V's, one more time. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. Again, do not forget Bill Muckler, Friday morning at 10 a.m. on Boogie with the Bull here on Facebook and YouTube. And with that,